Happy Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Leafs Convo podcast for Vanguard Northeast Realty in Scarborough, vanguardne.ca. I'm Norman James in London, Ontario, joined as always by my podcast partner in crime, Michael Piaggello in Buffalo, New York. Michael, it's 11 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Good morning, Norman. We'll see. We'll see where everybody is when the clock strikes midnight tonight. Whether Leaf fans are joyous and running through the streets of Toronto, or curling in the corner in their apartment or in their house after watching Game 7. It comes all down to this. It's been a fairly even series, a roller coaster series, annoying in some ways because you would like some consistency, but it comes down to this, and this is the time where you have to either show up or shut up.
Prior to the playoffs, we were concerned the Leafs just didn't have the right manpower to not only beat the Bruins, but to march on through and beat Tampa like we expected and get to the conference finals and then even win a Stanley Cup. Yet here they are in Game 7. So we have this struggle, the general expectations of wanting the Maple Leafs and believing the Maple Leafs could initially, balanced with the reality of the situation. Yet, again, here they are. Game 7, Michael. I'm not sure what we can expect or forecast for tonight that will make us believe the Leafs can get this thing done because, as you mentioned, and as we know, it's been topsy-turvy, back and forth. The way the win-loss schedule has taken place, you think Game 7 belongs to the Maple Leafs, yet it's in Boston, a place where they are 0 for 2 in their last 2 tries in winning a Game 7. So can you prognosticate, Mike? Can you hint? Can we have any expectation as to how things are going to go tonight? Or do you just kind of keep one eye on the game and one eye on an escape route if things don't go right for you?
Even Nostradamus is not going to be able to predict this game. All things point. Yes, the odd even breakdown of the series every other game with the Leafs winning 1-3-5, Boston winning 2-4-6 would say, well, that means the Leafs are going to come back and win Game 7. You hope, you wish. That's not reality. What's going to be reality is how the teams play. And we know that when their backs have been against the wall 3 times in this series, after falling behind 1-0, 2-1, and 3-2, the Bruins have found a way to respond. Tonight, all bets are off. This is Game 7. There's no tomorrow. You can use every analogy that you want to think up, but that's the case. The season ends for one of these teams tonight, and it's going to be who shows up, who plays better, who gets the breaks when your back is against the wall. And I'm not going to predict it but I'm just saying the way it leans, the way I thought before the series, based on experience, based on particular talent that comes to the forefront in the playoffs, I picked the Bruins. I hope I'm wrong, but do I expect Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak to be at the top of their game? Sure. Would I like to have a 6'9" Slovakian mountain like Zdeno Chara on my blue line? Sure. But the Leafs have great players too, so it's going to be up to them to step up and to match what the Bruins are likely to do. If they do that, then the Leafs have a good chance. If they don't, we'll be talking about locker cleanout and what's going to happen in the summer later this week.
Don't go there. People are already talking about locker cleanout and cleaning out the head coach. It's mind-boggling, Michael. Speaking of Game 6s, the Leafs didn't win Game 6 on home ice, and that's a huge cause for concern for me. Dallas gets it done in their series with Nashville. So there goes my bracket. Goodbye. I had Nashville and Tampa in the Stanley Cup final.
Well, you're not alone, Norm. The NHL is redoing their Stanley Cup bracket challenge because there have been so many upsets. Tampa Bay was like the choice of 50%. If Washington goes out, they may as well scrap the entire bracket challenge because they
What's
had
that
nobody
arena like
winning.
In Dallas, Mike? You were there for the draft.
I was there for the draft. Yeah, it was. It wasn't full for the draft. It was a it was 100
Mm.
degrees outside on a Friday night in the summer, but it's a
Is it
nice
downtown?
looking arena. It's
Okay, so it's not out
yes,
in Plano
it's
or
downtown.
Mesquite.
No, it's not like Florida with with sunrise. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
downtown Dallas, so
Yeah.
it's a nice looking arena. It's
Credit to Dallas.
rather new.
Obviously, overtime is really a roll of the dice, but they win it in Game 6, take the series from Nashville 4-2. Carolina wins a Game 6 over Washington, forcing things back to DC for Game 7. Now, the Leafs can, I don't know, get some solace from the Vegas Golden Knights, the reigning Western Conference Stanley Cup finalists, losing in double overtime of Game 6. San Jose pushing things to a Game 7. Like, I want to see an effort from this Maple Leafs team that is as complete as it possibly can be. And if they lose in overtime, or if they lose a knock them down, drag them out through 60 minutes, it is what it is. After a really solid professional effort that these guys can say to themselves, look, man, we gave it our all. We weren't as complete as we wanted to be prior to the series, and that showed when the 7 games concluded. I don't want to be talking about Game 7 tomorrow that was a shit show or a cluster F or a series of mistakes or a game where the nerves overtook judgment. That I just give me and dear Maple Leafs, give yourselves an opportunity to win. Put it all out there, lay it on the line. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
What do these 4 players have in common? I'll start with this before I lead into what you were just talking about. Tyler Bozak, Leo Komarov, Matt Martin,
They're
and
all
Roman
going
Polak.
on. They're all going on to round 2.
They're all going on to round 2, and they're all members of the Leafs last year. Now, that's meaningless, but it's an interesting little fact that players that this team said, well, we can't renew their contracts, or we can't afford to if we're going to sign John Tavares, or they weren't used in a proper way, or they were too old or whatever. And there were a number of reasons, and they've moved on from them and have gone in a different direction. And I was in favor of that because the Leafs had a Calder Cup winning team with the Marlies and a lot of young players. And I think you can see that Andreas Janssen and Travis Dermott were ready for the NHL. There's going to be changeover in the summer as well. It's going to be more based on, salary cap considerations. But that stuff right now is secondary. That stuff is not, the present. That's the future. Right now, the reality is Game 7. And like you were saying, they need their big players who have shown up at times in the series to step up when it matters. And like I wrote yesterday, the first 3 games, Hyman, Tavares, and Marner were phenomenal. They had shut down the Bergeron line. They had scored key goals. Mitch Marner blocked the shots at the end of Game 3. You look at the stats. The last 3 games, they have 1 goal collectively, 1 goal, 2 assists, and are minus 13. I think
they are aware of that, Mike. And I think these guys have risen to the moment throughout the season. This is an opportunity for them to not chase the play. They've been doing whatever they can to respond to and hold in check, to the best of their abilities, the Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak line. Tonight, they must be the aggressors. They must have the run of the play. If they do that, if Tavares and Marner and Hyman, by association, can dictate what's happening in this game, the Maple Leafs will be hosting Game 1 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's what has to take place. It's now or never, and I think Tavares, Marner, Hyman, I think the whole team's aware of that. Geez, guys, just put it out there. Give yourselves a chance. You deserve this series victory, Michael. Last few points to you.
Yeah, well, even if they break even against that top line, even if they, just shut them down or limit them, that's a victory for the Leafs tonight. I mean, so there's one. I mean, you need Matthews to continue to pump goals in like he has been over the last 4 games. In the Game 7 scenario, I think hopefully that'll happen. Really, the Leafs need their bottom 2 lines to do something. I think their third line has been the worst unit in the series of either team, especially after Kadri took the suspension after Game 2. We saw Marleau be used 17 minutes in Game 6. That will probably continue because Mike Babcock, when it comes down to pressure moments, will fall back on the players that he trusts, and he trusts Patrick Marleau. So I think you're probably not going to see a lot of minutes from your fourth line, especially after Tyler Ennis takes a penalty that causes the power play goal. And that could be, obviously Freddie Anderson being like he was in the last couple games is going to be extremely important. But I think this game will be won or lost on special teams. The special teams in Game 6 were abysmal for Toronto. They cannot take penalties if their penalty killing is at 56%. They need to either play a game where they don't take any penalties or block shots and be more effective on the PK in this game where if you lose, it's over with.
Bottom line, just be better. Are the Leafs capable of being better 4 times in 7 games against the Boston Bruins, right? Are they capable of being better? Can the head coach facilitate and empower his team to be better? We'll find out tonight, Mike. There's really not much else to say, right?
Yep. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
Converse, listeners of the podcast, I'd love to know how you're feeling. You can talk to us on Twitter at I am Norman James, at Mike in Buffalo, or you can get at us inside the community section on the YouTube channel. I want to know how you're feeling. Let's get through today together, and with any luck, we'll be able to continue this journey following the Maple Leafs into round 2. Believe it's possible. I'm sure the Maple Leafs believe it's possible. And I'll say this again. All we want from this team is an effort that they can be proud of at the end of the day. If they're not good enough, but they gave it everything they had, left it all out there, and played a mistake-free Game 7, so be it. We didn't get that in Game 7 1 year ago. We want that in Game 7 tonight. Michael, enjoy the day. Enjoy the game. You and I will be talking about it for sure tomorrow.